2 years before, also in Nepal, I met a girl. Like, we went out in a pub, like a rock pub. And this girl, she said she's close by, like, let's say 1-2 hours away from my hometown. And one day in the summer, I decided with my friend, hey, let's do like a bicycle tour. We went like 500 kilometers by bicycle in a week. And on the first evening, it started raining and storming, and I said, hey, let's go to this lake. Like, there's light and it seems like music. We went there, and I meet the same person, the same girl with 3 months before from Nepal. She was working there just for a few days. She was. So that's like a moment, hey, wow, I show you. Can you do it like this with your arm? So just hold it, and I will push it like down, but you hold against. Yes. And the teacher, David Hawkins, is saying, when I say something bad, your body, physical, will react weakly. That only a few people has reached to this level, like for example Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, and go on. And people who had this amount of consciousness, he completely transformed the world. Like, either they got world famous or they developed their own religion, which impacts still thousands of years after they existed, after they lived. Still, they created this kind of energy field, and if you believe to their message, you can connect through this energy field.
Am I audible? Welcome to the Book Talk, presented by the Book Wishes Club.
Hello book lovers. Have you ever wondered why we behave the way we do? Where are the patterns of our behaviors coming from? Is it genetic, or have we acquired this over our lifetime? So human behaviors, as we see, has been the topic of discussion globally since long period of time. And today we will be discussing about the hidden determinants of human behavior in this particular episode by the reader himself. The book of discussion for today's episode is Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. And we have with us our another esteemed guest all the way from Germany, Mr. Florian Huffman. Let's welcome him.
Hello, thank you very much.
Welcome to the Book Talk, Florian.
Thank you very much.
So how would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is Florian Huffman, like mentioned, and I'm right now 29 years old, and it's like my 5th time that I come to visit Nepal. Like, I have already been staying here like 8 months, and yes, I'm a passionate reader. I read books like already about 9 years after I finished with school, and there are some books which impacted highly on my life. Like, I have around 5 favorite books, and this book I want to talk about today is like one of these 5 main books for me.
As you just mentioned that you started reading 9 years after your school. So
9 years ago. Like, after school finished, I started. Yes.
Okay. So how did you get into this book reading habits? What influenced you?
That's a good question, and it was like, when I finished my school, my education, I felt like there's something missing in my life. Like, I'm not learning anything new more. I started like a job, and I didn't feel fulfilled. Like, I get some new information, I got some... Yeah, I'm a very curious person, and I want to learn and see something new in life. That's also why I'm traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found the habit of reading. Like, I started with a French book. Like, it was highly discussed in Europe, and it kind of got my curiosity because it was a little bit critical about the society right now. And with this book, I find my interest in reading. I was already reading as a kid a little bit, like Harry Potter, like fantasy. And after I read this book, I started like developing new interests, like in spirituality, philosophy, also in business books. And my personal question was always, if a person has expertise like 30 years, like in any kind of business knowledge, why you shouldn't take the personal advantage and buy the book of this person where you have maybe 30 years expertise. So that's how I think about reading a book.
Okay, so that's very smart actually. That's very wise
Thank
of you to take book in such a way that you get to learn things which you have not experienced yet from
Yes.
those people who have already experienced. So how did you come across this particular book?
Like I said, I first started to read about social, like criticism about the society right now. Then I went more into psychology and human behavior
Okay.
and philosophy also. And the next step to this was, in my conclusion, also the part of spirituality. And like this book connected all of these three topics.
Okay.
Yes.
So let our audience know in brief what this power versus force actually carries, what content it carries inside.
Okay, like you have first to know the author. He's like a psychiatrist, and he studied like medicine, psychiatry, and he studied like philosophy. So he has like two doctors, and in his lifetime he also was psychiatrist, and he helped to heal a lot of people, and he got very famous because he also influenced a lot of his healings with spirituality, like listening to the clients, to the people. He mixed all like human behavior from psychology, like also the worldviews through,
Okay.
yeah, and kind of he connected everything, but in a big picture, what he also wrote in his book.
So basically, he has this combination of psychological and spiritual perspectives of
Yes.
human behaviors.
Yes, and philosophy too. So like all three.
So it's like all in one kind of book.
Yes,
If
yes.
you want to study about human behaviors.
Yes.
So how much do you agree or disagree with the kind of arguments written in the book?
It's a good question. Like, I can't say that I completely disagree or agree with it, but I see it more as a concept. It's like a concept to put everything in order. Like, where's spirituality in our life? Where belongs psychology? Like, I see this book like more as a guideline for our own nature, how to involve in life. Yes.
So the book subtitle also says that it talks about the determinants of hidden behaviors of human.
Yes.
I mean, the hidden determinants of human behaviors. So, what are the basic things that you have seen here? Let's go deeper into the topics.
Let's go deeper into.
So, what kind of behaviors, distinctions, or how has the determinants of behavior been showed here?
Okay. Let's start with the main characteristics of the book. Like the main topic is like the map of consciousness. Like, as you can see, like in this image, you can see there are several levels of consciousness which a human can reach in his life, and you can also say that's like a perception or view on life itself. Like, as you can see, like the highest one is enlightenment, like the highest possible consciousness like a human can reach, and the lowest is like shame, and the next guilt. And as long as you develop in the high direction, like your life gets better and better because your view on life changes, and the higher your level is, the more energy you have, the more life energy. Like the higher it is, the more positive the life itself is. The deeper it is, like if you're a person who sees the life as shame or guilt, the more bad life feels itself for you.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically, the human behaviors have been shown in a hierarchy,
Yes.
in the
yes,
funnel
yes.
shape.
It's like a pyramid, but in a different. Yes.
Okay, so that particularly shows that every human being goes through all of those phases in their life.
Especially when you see it from a Hindu or Buddhist way of life, you believe like in reincarnation. So if you have been like a good person, you start higher. Let's say, for example, at 400, like at mind, where you more intellectually. If you were a bad person or did bad things in the past, you start maybe more lower, like in shame, guilt, or anger. You can say you have like a baseline. What is your base view on life? Is it in love or is it in a lower but you can also say you're not 100% in one. Like it can be like, in relationships I feel more anger or guilt, while in business I'm a good person and I want to share, and I want everybody to have an equal chance to, like it depends. Like you can be stuck in different zones. So, and your goal is like to release the old patterns, like the old low vibrational energies, but you have also go through them to experience them. How is it to feel shame if I don't belong to my society? How is it to feel anger and want to?
Let's pause.
It was on anger. Perfect. Or how is it to go through anger? Like if you see, oh, everybody hates me or they don't like me at my company. Like you have to experience this different perception in life to get like the fully human experience. Like, so if it's like you said, without dark, no light. Like you have to go through all. Like yes. And the main goal or the highest is, like I said, the enlightenment, and it's believed, like from the author, the concept, that only a few people has reached to this level. Like for example, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, and go on. And people who had this amount of consciousness, he completely transformed the world. Like either they got world famous or they developed their own religion, which impacts still thousands of years after they existed, after they lived. Still they created this kind of energy field, and if you believe to their message, you can connect through this energy field. Like for example, Jesus teach about love, Buddha about enlightenment, and what the author did is he puts all together like a big puzzle, so you don't need to fight another religion. For example, like you see the difference in teachings. Like it's a big puzzle, and you can. I see it more like a guideline.
This is kind of, yes, like you said, puzzle. It's kind of little confusing.
Yes.
Also to the audience maybe, so we'll clarify it slowly from you.
Okay.
So what I want to ask is that when we talk about behaviors, I do not know much about the philosophical and spiritual perspective, but what I've understood from the psychological perspective is that we talk about human behavior, human cognitions, and our older patterns, and like you said, we keep changing that, we grow our personalities. But now that you have connected it to religions,
Yes.
now how does the behaviors and religion, how has it been connected in the book? Please clarify more about this.
I think when I say now that our thoughts, our beliefs create our reality, I think you would agree with that. Like our thinking.
We are what we think.
Yes.
Is a saying.
Yes, and like what we think, then our thoughts create our emotion, our actions. Like and so it's like, so it starts everything with the belief system, like how you perceive life, and this levels of consciousness, they see where are you stuck right now, where are you attached, how you see the life. Like let's say you are a person who feels a lot of guilt because as a child I did this, I did that, and all your behavior will reflect on this guilt pattern. Like everything what you do, if you haven't been one time nice to your friend, you feel guilty the whole day. And that's like your perspective on life, and you go to the psychologist for healing this. Maybe you had a trauma which is guilt related, and from the perspective of this book, it's you feel through this guilt and you release it, so you can get to the next stage. For example, if you release your guilt, you come to the next. You feel maybe courage because you could release the guilt, and now you feel positive into life, and you see, oh no, life is not bad, life is actually good, I just have to do something. And so you can rise to the next levels.
As I asked earlier too, like you said, some people, they start from the higher level of the consciousness.
Yes.
And does it depend on our, like in psychology we say it's parenting that brings out such kind of behaviors, because of the parenting, the trauma is faced by the children. So Like you said now, after releasing the emotions from one level, then we can reach to another level.
Yes, yes.
And how is that actually possible for any individual?
It depends always where you are right now. So you have to figure out, analyze where you are. So, and you have to change like your own belief systems, like the way how you feel, act, and think. So, for example, let's say you are a greedy person. You want, for example, to have a lot of money and don't care if you start a company and you don't give enough money to your employees. And like you could replace this. You first have to analyze your own behavior, and you could replace it, for example, like, hey, with compassion. How does the other people feel? He has maybe a family. He has to take care of his children, and that can actually change your behavior, because you replace your greediness, which is maybe from a lower state like anger or desire, and you for example through compassion, and you understand the other person, so you can replace this thinking. That's actually would be like Christianity would teach, like in this thing.
As there is a saying also, it's easy to say something than to do it. We believe it, right?
Yes.
So, to someone who knows these things at early stage of their life, might be easier for them to, understand their emotions or their level of consciousness. But if I think of someone who has already lived 30, 40 years of life and they want to bring change in them,
Yes.
and these patterns of their behavior have been stuck with them since past 30 or 40 years, then what should be done for those kind of individuals to increase their level of consciousness?
I think, like you said, also that it's harder the older you get, the more. I think it's also an ego thing. It's
Yes.
like because the
Pattern
ego wants.
has been set.
Yes. The pattern has been set, and like the people feel comfortable like in this. That's the
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Because the ego, like also the author is saying, wants to plan, wants to survive. Like these are the basic functions of our ego. So ego is actually not a total bad thing, because you only have to use it for your own. Like
Betterment.
a funny tip of the author, like David Hawkins said, you should treat your ego like a little dog, or like a pet. Be friendly to him, understand what it needs, and so it doesn't control you. So, and how to change the human patterns or the perspective of life, I think it's harder the older you get, because it's already set. But I personally think people learn best through pain. If they see how they're running against the wall, and they understand, no, it's not getting. Sometimes they need a mentor or a coach who tell them, hey, try it like this way, or a psychologist. So I think that's the best way for changing. But I don't have a clearly answer from now the author.
This actually is a very real and beautiful thing that all of us must internalize, that we learn best through pain, because our generations, and not only our generations but any individuals, would not want to learn something by feeling the pain. We always want comfort and we want things to go easy, but we should know that there is no shortcuts to life.
It's true, yes.
So a lot of people, I feel that I don't know the word trauma is used in this book or not, but many people of our generation, elder generation, or new, everyone has faced trauma in their life. That is, I think that is what my perspectives is to as many people as I've met so far. So how is the trauma explained here, where it comes from, and what is that root cause of our behaviors, as per all the perspectives that writer has explained?
As he described trauma or very negative emotion, he said it's like a negative field or a negative emotion you're still holding from your past, like a bad experience you made, and you're still holding on it. And he described in his book that a lot of people had like a spontaneous healing, because they had a short time where they realized like love consciousness or enlightenment or peace, like a they could in a short time experience like how is the consciousness in such a high vibration, and in this short time they could release a lot of pain it's maybe if you heard from the people who already died, like let's say in hospital, but they come back to life, like near to death experiences.
Yes.
And people always tell in this, they see a white tunnel, they feel God, and this experience completely changed their life. And that's exactly what he is telling. They experienced a higher state of consciousness, and it
Okay.
completely transformed.
Okay.
Yes.
As far as I've understood from this discussion, is that once person reaches to some higher level of energy and they experience that,
Yes.
so that brings that increases the level of consciousness.
Yes.
So they
yes.
overcome that level
Yes.
and go higher each time.
Yes, but you can also fall back,
Fall down.
but still it has a real big impact on your life. If you experience one time, let's say, enlightenment, you will never forget this, and you always want to go back to this level.
Okay, so it's about like our behaviors and their energy and what components. I guess our audience is also a little bit curious to know more about what this actually the topic of discussions that we are going in is about. So let's make it more clear to them. We are basically talking about the determinants, hidden determinants of human behavior. And in this book, in this particular book, it talks about the consciousness, it talks about spirituality, as he said, and about the psychological and philosophical perspective. So we are trying to understand where our behaviors are coming from. So as you have already read this book, so I want to ask you a few questions that normally every individual might have faced in their life in terms of behavior,
Yes.
and want to know where it comes from. So let's talk from the very basic concepts of behavior.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you some few questions that might relate to this book. You can answer as per your perspectives of reading, because a lot of people, they always go through these struggles of bringing some improvements in their behavior or changing their behavior,
Yes.
because it's causing problems in their relationships, family relationships, friend relationships, and love relationships.
Yes.
We all want to keep changing our behaviors but don't know where to start from.
Okay.
So this might be the case. So let's talk from the very basic, very lowest energy, like you said, consciousness, so the shame, guilt, and desire and all.
Yes.
So where does this all develop from, and how can an individual deal with such kind of energies or emotions and upgrade themselves from that?
So it can come from everywhere. For example, like feeling abandoned from your parents in your early childhood, or not fitting inside your school. Like it can be all trauma, stronger and weaker traumas. And like you're stuck, you're attached to this level, and you should always think how to get to the next level up. Let's take, for example, not the lowest one, let's take, for example, desire. A person who has desire, for example, I want a girlfriend, I want a big house. Like this kind of person is, in other words, he's lacking something in his life. He wants to have something what he doesn't have. And the next point of consciousness would be anger. The next higher, where you have more energy in life, you have more power, it's anger. So instead of thinking, oh, I want this, I want that in life, you use your power of anger, your angry emotions to achieve these things actually. Like that's the next logical step in life. Oh, I wanted this house, so I pushed forward to build, to earn money and to buy this house. And if you reached your target, what you wanted, logically the next level is you're proud of it. Hey, I'm proud. I have become a famous singer. I have built my my family house. Like, for example, that's the logical next step. But all these levels of consciousness are still negative.
Okay.
So it's less negative than guilt and shame, for example, to be proud. But you want to get positive, like a positive impact on life. So the next step would be you're humble. You get humble. You're not anymore proud. So I'm humble. And from this point of view, you can get courage. You can start getting a life in integrity.
So basically, what are the patterns in normal humans is that once we reach to some level or once we achieve something we wanted,
Yes.
we desire for some more and then some more. So instead of doing that, You
Yes,
mean
yes.
to say, according to this conscious levels, what we need to do is when we reach to that level,
Yes, yes.
then we need to be grateful for what we have,
Yes, yes, yes.
and then we can desire something else.
That's also a very good point you said. You can start either, like I said, logically to go upstairs, or always the next level, or you can also, if you have a good mentor teacher, like I take now Jesus for example. If you're a Christian, you take Jesus. He's also teaching gratitude. Like, it's like two ways of healing. Like either you go step by step, or you go like, hey, I want this, I want that, like this desire which comes from lacking, I'm not happy with my current situation in life. You replace this way of thinking, of perception, like, hey, I'm grateful for what I have right now. Like, okay, I don't have the perfect life like in my dreams. I don't have this big house, or I don't have it yet. But I'm thankful, hey, I'm healthy, I have a good family which treats me well, I have good friends. Like, you should focus on the things what you have right now. So it automatically increases the level of consciousness, because you're seeing it from a point of love, from a, hey, I have this, I'm happy. And the higher it is, like I said, the more energy you have in life, and so you can actually achieve your things faster and easier. It's like a form of manifestation.
Okay, so,
So,
like
yes,
law
yes.
of attraction.
Love, yes,
basically.
yes. Yes, yes.
We just talked about the materialistic things right now,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's about houses and all things, attracting money, maybe. But
Yes.
when it comes to human relationships, it gets
Okay.
more complex, I feel that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because it's also complex when it comes in terms of materials, but when humans are involved, and when we talk about our family relationships, friendships,
Yes.
and also maybe relationship with colleagues, and relationship
Yes.
with partners, husband, wife. So this patterns, this level of conscious somehow affects. It
Yes,
does.
yes.
Because two individuals when engaged with each other might not be at the same level of consciousness.
That's true, yes, yes.
So how does it impact each other's life, and what can be done to balance that relationship, either it's family or friends or partners?
Okay, let's say if you are on a specific level of consciousness, you often attract people on the same level. Like, for example, you're an angry person at anger, 150, you attract also somebody who's angry. So it comes to a fight, because you want to live out of this consciousness. The other thing what you can have, is to having a mentor who already passed this level and is on the next one, or even a higher. So you can learn from him how to get through it. Like,
Okay.
that's the other thing. And yes, in the family constellation, it can be like your mother is a completely different, like, or your father. It's a little bit complex, and I can't give you a detailed answer like on this.
Basically, what we need to do is we need to keep healing ourselves and achieve next level of consciousness.
Yes, to go
So
up.
that should be our goal in terms of
Yes,
having a quality life, let's say.
yes.
So that we have now talked about behaviors from the level of conscious perspective.
Yes.
As you already mentioned, now this book contains the perspectives of spirituality and philosophy also.
Yes.
So let's also discuss from that perspective. Let's relate behaviors to energy levels, because what happens is, to our generation, it's hard for us to believe that this is actually true, these things actually exist.
Yes.
Because energy, we can't see that.
Yes.
So it's about feeling, and how does that impact our behavior? And please elaborate more on this.
You're right, like, it's more materialized, the world, and people are more focused, especially in a young age, on the materialist things, because it's visible and and sensible. And I also believe, like, the older you get, for example, just think about a 45-year-old man, the more spiritual you get automatically. Like, that's
Yes.
how I believe. It's like everything around us is energy. Like, everything, I think if you go to a place and you feel like a good vibe, that's energy. If you feel like unsafe or bad in a dark place, that's also energy. Like, you always feel this energy. Also, if you look at the word emotion, it means actually energy in motion. Like,
Okay.
it's very interesting wordplay.
Yes, actually, that's a new concept to me right now.
Yes. And let's say if you go to a highly spiritual place, like, for example, you go to a temple, or you go to any preaches, guru for example, then you feel like a higher energy, like he's giving some of his higher energy, like maybe he's in a love consciousness or in a reason consciousness, but he giving, you feel it directly, like this peaceful energy. If you, for example, you go to a dark criminal area, like a location in the city, and you immediately, you don't feel safe there because there's a lot of crime, that's also energy, like it's like a bad vibration of energy. And the author is simply telling just we should focus more on the higher. Then as more we connect to the higher principles, the more we also get to this. Yes, and just avoid the lower energies. Of course, everybody has also lower energies, but kind of releasing them is the answer, and focusing on the higher. Yes.
Okay, so as we talk about energy and the flow of energy, does this book also talk about soul's energy, that like we say a concept of ghosts and God? Does it talk about that? Because we believe that ghosts exist, we also believe that gods exist, so that's also a form of energy.
It's very interesting. I want to talk about the view on God, because every level has a different like view on life and a view on God. Like for example, a person in a guilt or shame consciousness, he will think God is very judgmental and everything I'm doing is wrong. He see every action is wrong. Like people in anger consciousness, he will say God is revengeful. In reason, he say God is all knowing. Like in love, God is compassionate, and in enlightenment, like you see the I in God, like the connection, simply that everybody has God in himself. Yes.
So it depends on which level of consciousness we are to perceive the concept of God and
in a different way. That's
belief.
the interesting fact. Like yes, for example, in Christianity, people say God is all-knowing, he knows everything. So it's like a point of view from the reason consciousness. Also, they say sometimes God is all-loving to all, compassionate. So Christianity is actually calibrate between reason and love. Yes.
So as you mentioned earlier that when we go to some guru or some temples area, let's say, we feel a different vibe, and rather than when we go to a criminal area.
Yes.
So where is that energy actually coming from? Because scientifically we hear that energy flows from a higher level to a lower level. So is there a concept like which energy is strong or which is weak?
Yeah, you can simply say the weak energy is the low vibrating energy. It's like the weaker, and the higher is like the more spiritual and positive it gets, the stronger it is. And simply, can I have your hand? Can I show you? Can you do it like this with your arm?
Yes.
So just hold it, and I will push it like down, but you hold against. Yes. And the teacher David Hawkins is saying, when I say something bad, your body physical will react weakly.
Okay.
If I say something more higher, you will act more stronger. Let's try it out.
Okay.
So I push against and you push higher, like, but we're holding like same. Okay, if I say now Buddha, so your body will start getting stronger and your arm rises.
Yes.
If I say racist or like a hateful, revengeful person, you feel like a bad energy and your arm gets,
Okay.
like
So yes, this is true.
yes. So you can also use it like as a direction. If you feel like, should I go there? Should I decide for this path in my life? You can do like this test. How is your body reacting? Is it like positive for me or negative? Like, for example, if you take smoking,
Okay.
yes, or alcohol.
Okay. So it's about the vibrations also, like of
Yes,
the
yes.
sound energy.
Oh, everything, because also the sound behind the language is the energy itself. Yes, it's everything like connected.
Okay, so has it been proven, or how has this been explained in the book? Because verbally, like we said, we only believe in the materialistic things or things that are evident.
Yes.
So, how can a person or individual believe that this kind of energy and this process actually exists?
This question is very good one because the author got also criticized for his scientific research because people also this was what we did. This hand test of body physical test is called kineos kinesiology. Do you know the word?
I've heard kinetic. but
Yes, yes.
not
It's
this.
I think it's kinetic.
Kinetic energy, maybe.
Yes,
The movement.
it's
Yeah.
called like kinetic energy. Like he directly tests like how is the body reacting to energies. But of course he got criticized. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. How do you say it? Kinesiology.
Kinesis or something, maybe.
Kinesiology.
Kin-
Kinesiology.
kinesiology. The author he got very criticized for his way of research because he used like this physical test. It's from the kinesiology, like how the body reacts to specific things, and he kind of also calibrated his level of consciousness with this way. But of course, people call it like a pseudo science, like it's pseudo psychology.
It's not
And-
evident.
Yes, but actually you can't prove spirituality like in a
Yes.
scientific way. That's the problem because the science is only from the mind consciousness
Yes.
and the spiritual is higher, so you can actually just experience it and believe in it. So what you experience. That's why the science they can't really research about spirituality because it's not possible. The science is from the mind consciousness, from the reason, and spirituality is calibrated higher because everything from love is getting spiritual. You can't
Yes.
see love with a microscope. Yeah, and what the author is actually doing, he's trying to put the science and religion, spirituality all together, like
Okay.
to make it understandable in a mind way.
Just trying to merge these concepts
Yes.
to make it like multidisciplinary concept at the same
Yes.
frame.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a small rapid fire session in
Okay.
our book talk. So shall we begin?
Sure, let's go.
Favorite book of all time and why?
The Alchemist.
Okay.
The Alchemist because it changed like my life drastically. Like follow your own. It says like follow your own inner journey, and that's what I did.
So do you prefer ebook or physical book?
Physical, of course. Physical. I like if I put it in my to see all books I read. I love it.
So is there any favorite reading spot?
Actually, on the couch.
Any book that made you cry?
I think not. I think not.
So which book would you want to see turning into a movie?
I can't answer this.
We can skip this. One word to describe your reading habits.
I read it a lot when I needed help, when I wanted to achieve something in life, or when I had a bad phase. I read it a lot, and when I was better, life changed. Then I started read lesser and more go into life itself.
Do you believe in the power of positive thinking?
Yes, of course.
And have you felt it?
Yes, but I'm naturally a optimistic thinker, so.
Okay.
But I can help sometimes others.
Have you experienced a gut feeling that turned out to be true?
Really often I felt like, hey, go for it, and it was right. My mind didn't know why should I do it, but it always turned out right.
So any experience you will want to share about that?
Let's say, for example, I always wanted to come to Nepal. Like my first time, it was 2017. And I was ready kind of 2019, and I didn't know why I wanted, but I feel like, hey, I have to go to this country, and so I lived now like 8 months here.
Okay. What's one thing that you do to calm your mind during stressful times?
I lie on my bed and sometimes listening meditation music and sometimes just feeling, processing my emotions.
How do you define happiness?
If I'm on the right place, on the right time, and do what I like.
So do you believe in the concept of fate or destiny?
Fate.
Have you ever experienced a moment of profound synchronicity in your life?
Yes, I did. It was like a very crazy story I want to tell. I was 2 years before also in Nepal. I met a girl. Like we went out in a pub, like a rock pub. And this girl, she said she's close by, like let's say 1-2 hours away from my hometown. And one day in the summer, I decided with my friend, hey, let's do like a bicycle tour. We went like 500 kilometers by bicycle in a week. And on the first evening, it started raining and storming. And I said, hey, let's go to this lake. Like there's light and it seems like music. And we went there and I meet the same person, the same girl with 3 months before from Nepal. She was working there just for a few days. She was. So that's like a moment, hey, wow, this is...
That's maybe a fate.
Maybe, yes.
So, if you could possess any superpower related to spirituality or energy, what would it be and why?
I believe we all have superpowers, hidden powers, and we have just to discover them.
Do you think technology has affected our spiritual connection with the world?
Yes, definitely.
In what ways?
And I think also in a positive way, because there was like a spiritual teacher from America, his name was Ram Dass, and he said like also our spirituality is connected to the technical world. So if you asking something or the spirit, then sometimes it's you see like an Insta post or you see like a book on Amazon, but it's exactly like this technology is all connected.
Can you recall a time when you felt a strong connection to something greater than your energy?
I was one time really in love, and this changed like really like never before, and this changed like everything in my life.
One last question: if your life was a book, and what would its title be and why?
I would take it like something with journey. The journey, like sometimes rise and fall, or it's kind of a journey in life. And
like you mean roller coaster?
Yeah, yes, rise and fall. Like you experience everything in life, like all kind of settings, and yes.
Let's get back to the book again.
Okay.
The topics, the title of the book says power versus force.
Yes.
Now let's tell our audience what actually the words, why this topic suits the book.
Okay. In my personal opinion, it's the wrong title of the book. I would completely rename it differently. I would rather call it Map of Consciousness.
Okay.
I think the author maybe choose it to get, because people thinking more political way, to get more people into this book. But also in my language, in the German native language, it's also called Map of Consciousness. As you ask, where's this power versus force inside the book, you can say that the lower frequencies of consciousness, you're more forcing something. Maybe with your ego, you want to do something, you want to have something. While on the higher, it's more spiritual, you more let it in. You're not forcing life anymore, you just let it in. Hey, maybe for example you getting in a relationship and the partner is exactly mirroring your own side. What you don't like inside yourself, you got mirrored by your partner, for example. So it's more about letting the life flow. It's the power, whereas force is I go with my ego, I don't want to see this, I just, yes.
Oh, okay. So that's how the book was named, you think, power versus force?
Yes. The higher it is get, the more power you have. You don't need to force anything.
Would you like to rewrite this? I mean, would you like to make some changes in the context of the book and write in your own ways? Have you thought about it?
I wouldn't do it beside the title, I would rename.
Okay.
But maybe I would add some things like to
from your own experiences.
Yes.
Have you felt something different that is not mentioned in the book?
Yes, I experienced something like it's not always going up one level. Sometimes I also jump from one level to another one, or also low. So that's my experience. Like it's not like a linear. It's more like a you can't predict it. Yes.
How has this book helped you gain your own consciousness, or has this book helped you to understand your level of consciousness or your behavior patterns?
It helped me more like in a form of spiritual view on life. Like I was born like in a strong Christian believing family, and I was taught like everything what isn't in the Bible is wrong. So get away from all the disbeliefs. But I always felt inside of me there's something missing. And like this book helped me with my open mind to just open about, hey, there are also other spiritual concepts and they're not wrong. It's more like you can see it like it's a puzzle. So I'm seeing it more in a spiritual context than like in a psychological behavior context where I do my learning experience.
So out of like all the multidisciplinary concepts explained here, you don't agree with all of those. Like only some part of it has been relatable so far. Is
Yeah,
that so?
because I didn't experience everything, and I take it more like a guideline. Hey, I can see, but it's not that I
Follow
spirit.
whatever it-
Yes, it's
What are the major takeaways as a reader from this book?
how to get more positive in life. Where I see my own negativities. Where can I get better positive life, like in this holistic view?
Shall we assume that we human beings are naturally in negative energy most of the time? So is that why we need to move to the higher level?
Yeah, according to the author, the humanity evolved like there's a base average level of the human consciousness, and until 20 years ago, it was more negative. Like the human raises consciousness, but now it got over 200. Like okay, let's say the most people in the world, let's say maybe four or five. No. The most people in the world are more thinking in a negative way. But there are small amount of high thinking people, but they balancing each other out. So it's like one Jesus, one Buddha could balance out so many people who are in a lower state,
Okay.
and they have but the average level is through this going up and up. Yes.
So the majority of people who follow certain kind of religion or who believe in certain kind of energy, that's how the energy gets spread. You mean to say that?
Yes. They're connecting to this belief, enlightenment, love, peace, and they rises just by connecting to it.
So far now that we have discussed about different concepts in this book that describes human behavior, how much is it relatable to your real life experiences, or what are some instances, if you recall any, regarding the levels of energy that you have felt before? Would you like to share some?
First of all, I could open like more my consciousness, like also for all the spiritual experiences in my life, and not only thinking out of my mind, hey, what is good, what is wrong, what to do. So I had a broader horizon for making decisions. Yeah, I could see in things I never tell before. Like also when I started to focus on spirituality, I also thinking about some dark sides in my life which I didn't like about myself. For example, my father always wanted me to be a craftsman, like working like, for example, in a garden. But my mother wanted me always to be like in more spiritual related profession, like for example church. And I don't like to be a craftsman like in this. But years before I started also this shadow part of myself which I didn't like to work physically was also a part of me because I learned. And so I also started to work with my brothers when I'm home in Germany, like also like in a garden work company. So it also this part of myself that I didn't like bring me some light into my life. Yes.
So when did you get this internalization? Like now you have to start working on yourself and you have to start shedding out the layers and transform yourself.
I got it also after I started working, after I leaving school, and I was like not happy with my first kind of job. I was like selling endurances. I feel completely stuck in my life and also depressed in this stage. So this was also like the start when I started reading books. And yeah, like books give you so much knowledge. Like just imagine, like I said, like if somebody put like their 30 years experience into one book and you just read it in 2 days, 2-3 days, then you can absorb so many things. You have so many bigger horizon, more knowledge, and you can just try out these things. For example, I think the last podcast of you was about Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's also one of my favorite books actually. Just start your own business, for example. Like you don't have to think like, if it's not your thing, you don't need to be like employed. It's not the only option you have. If you like it, then right. But if you like more start trying own things, yes, then go for it. And books open you like this. You can follow a path what a person already experienced it. It's easier to go this way.
Just like you said, it's a guideline to our life.
Yes.
So that's what we can follow to experience less pain, and
Yes.
more bright sides of our life can come
Yes.
closer. What I wanted to ask you is that when we talk about spirituality, and
Yeah.
specifically you also said that out of a lot of multidisciplinary concepts in this book,
Yeah.
you were more attracted by the spiritual concept.
Yes.
But in our Nepalese society, and I don't know much about the Western cultures, but in our Nepalese society, what we actually believe is that in Eastern societies in overall,
Yes.
spirituality is something that a person need to acquire when they grow older, like we discussed earlier too.
Okay.
So the young age people, teenagers or young generations, they are not really into this kind of concepts, because there are stigmas that spirituality means God. Spirituality means worship.
Yes.
So how would you like to clarify this concept to our audience, because a lot of young people are watching us?
Okay. Very, very interesting. And when I see like your philosophies on life, like your spiritual, for example, when we take like the 7 chakras, like it's from Hindu or from Indian culture back to thousands of years ago.
Okay.
Like you start like with the root chakra, like which is the most physical, like you sense everything what you can sense.
Okay.
Like you go higher, cross the heart chakra to feel other people.
Okay.
And the highest is the spiritual. So it makes a lot of sense, like you're saying, hey, spiritual gets more important the older you get. Like from my culture, from the west side, like we were already having to go to church, like to believe. And a lot of people find spirituality early in life through some kind of pain or trauma. So they seek the help of God, and so, but of course it makes more sense to
Level of consciousness.
yes, you can also relate like this. The negative is more like your experience start in the root chakra with shame, or I have to behave in a societal way, how the society wants me, what is accepted, what not. So you also feel guilt and shame in the start. And the highest one is like the crown chakra, or also the enlightenment. So you can have like, for example, the 7 chakras next to the level of consciousness. In the middle you find love, and yes, makes sense.
So this actually is a very vague concept, and very lot of things we need to know about this, which we cannot accumulate all in the one episode, of course. But we'll try to extract as much information as we can. Like I already said, in terms of spirituality also, the understanding of spirituality in Eastern cultures and Western cultures might be different.
Yes.
Because now we both are here, sitting here, so we can have a little bit of discussion over this topic. That in Eastern cultures, spirituality, as I said earlier, is moreover concerned with the God and worship. And when we think of spirituality, we can connect a word temples. It could be a wrong interpretations or wrong understanding also. So how would you like to explain or describe spirituality in a very simple way to our young generations?
I would say is you experience your own divine self, like your higher self, which is definitely metaphysical, like non-physical, like what you can see or you can touch, and like you get this connection to your higher self, which guides you in life. Even it says, hey, go to this place, go there, and you don't know, your mind don't know why you should go or why you should do this profession. For example, if your higher self says, hey, you should learn how to draw or to do photography, but your mind thinks, no, I want a job which pays me off a lot and I should rather go in IT. So you're already like a twisted person. Like your higher purpose may be to be a creative, but your ego or your mind say, hey, go for a lot of money.
How can one identify that, we all have that kind of debates going on in our mind, of course. So how can one identify that this is not right for me, or I need to shift my energy to this level? Because first it starts from the realization, right? Until and unless the person knows that he or she needs to upgrade the level of energy, level of consciousness, that's not going to happen.
You can often see it like in your life, what is outside of you, because your outside is often like a mirror, like reflecting what is inside of you. Maybe you see a lot of negative people around you, or you're judging other people, like, oh, this person is stupid, this person is fat, but maybe that's something inside of you which you didn't relieve yet. If you're some judgy person, maybe it's not the other one who is stupid, maybe you are somebody who judges. Like your own reflection is we often project our reflection on other people or on the outside world, and yes, everything is from inside.
So that's how we can understand in what level of energy we are in, or what level of consciousness we hold.
Yes, that's one way. And you can also like look, how is your relationships going to your friends or to your partner? How is your relatives, your family relationships going? And often when you see some kind of struggle in life, it's important to focus on this. Maybe you're not happy with your job, but you inside you're believing, oh, job world is always hard, and maybe because of this own belief you took a job which is really hard.
So it's about
Getting to know yourself. And
in simple words, getting to know yourself.
Yes.
Basically we need to introspect in what's going inside of us, so
Yes.
that we can understand ourselves better.
yes, and everybody has their own way to do it. Some people are writing their own thoughts, other people meditating or going alone into the nature, just to get to know how you feel.
So what are your ways of doing that?
It's like also these three I said, like mostly I feel like if I go to the nature and find my own peace, I get my own clear thoughts and my own feelings. So for me that's one of the best ways, because I'm not surrounded by people who know you already long time, and you can find yourself also clarifying thoughts, processing all the emotions. That's like my personal way. Yes, yours?
Alright. Okay. So I basically am I prefer writing,
Yes.
and I also prefer self-talk,
Okay.
like talking to myself at the end of the day, reflecting the day, how I felt and what's going on.
Yeah.
So those are some things that makes me feel connected with myself.
Okay.
So I guess I'm doing the right thing now.
Okay.
Like after you said. So is there anything about the book, about this particular topic concept that I might have missed out talking, so you can add up in the end before we finish?
Let's do a short summary, like maybe it's easier.
Sure.
Like this book is more like a concept, like the David Hawkins, the author, is trying to put all philosophies in life, like all spiritual guides, like teachers, like a guideline, like it's more like a concept. Of course it's more from the mind side, and he tries to explain spirituality like in a scientific way, like so the mind can understand it. Of course it can't be proven, because you can't prove spirituality really with scientific mind. And actually it's like this book is like a view on life, but in a different way, like not in this thinking way we all learn from our societies or from our school system. Like you can completely have a new perception on life, and you have the power to change it in a second. Like, hey,
Okay.
yes,
So that could be interesting, and this might have made our audience more curious to go and grab this book.
Yeah.
So would you like to suggest our audience, tell why should this younger generations or any people read this book? Why should they choose to read this?
so if you're personally a open-minded person, like if especially you're interested in spiritual philosophical views, I can highly recommend this book, because it gives you like a broad view, like a view of the big picture, like what is what is good, what gives you more energy in life, and what should you avoid. Like which philosophies are bad, for example. Like if you thinking like about some terror acts and people thinking in this way, this is in the name of God, that's like a bad philosophy which is very low calibrated. But as you see, like if this view philosophy gives you more love, compassion, or like peace in your mind, you feel like it's a good thing to follow. So like I said, it's a good guideline if you want to see the bigger picture. It's of course just a concept, so you can't say it's like 100% true, but it feels like there's a lot of truth inside of this book, and it's like spirituality in a modern way of thinking, which also includes business, which also includes food, which is like if you eat a burger from McDonald's, it's low calibrate, then like a high calibrated food which you harvest from your own field. Like you can put this philosophy like in every area in life, and that makes it interesting, like a new worldview.
Yes, that's pretty clear in the concept. That we can just perceive it any ways that we want according to which level of consciousness we are in currently. So thank you so much for enlightening us with this beautiful, beautiful book. And I hope a lot of audience. So thank you very much for choosing this book and enlightening us with the concepts of philosophies, spiritualities, and psychology. It was great talking to you.
Thank you for me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for invitation. And
you're welcome. So I hope all the audience, you might be deciding whether to keep this book in your bucket list or not. I would highly recommend yes. We would recommend yes. So how did you like our conversation? Please write down in the comment section below. This is me, Seleska Sharma, signing off.